What's up, my dudes? Fuck being on some chill shit. Yo, dudes, get this. You guys know I was talking about, hey, RF, you need to go in there and make a pro enduro, trail hair scramble series for MX Simulator. And by golly, they pulled through for us, dudes. Oh god, I didn't know it was gonna happen, but I didn't realize we was gonna have a actual pro RF trail series this fast. But yeah, we got it, dog, right here. So wanted to go in there and talk about some of the big changes. So first of all, thick shout out to Hunter Root and Alexis Leclerc. We were going through a lot of different chat sessions with the dudes in RF throughout this race right here, and it's getting to the point to where RF can't even, they can't just be in this super defensive, like, well, it's just a couple of people that think erode is off or don't really like erode. Like, they can't even say that anymore. I mean, you got last year's motocross champion, Alexis Leclerc, in there saying, yo, this is terrible. We can't have this. You need to change this. You got Hunter Root chiming in at the same exact time saying, hey, we can't have that. He's, 2-3 years ago, Supercross champ, right? Yo, we can't have this. Like, what are these roads? These are not realistic. So then I chime in, right? We got a goddamn trifecta going on. It's like me, Alexis Leclerc, Hunter Root, all going in on RF. I mean, it's to the point now where it's like, okay, RF, now you see what I was talking about 2 years ago, okay? This ain't working, dog. I don't know any other way to say it. I mean, I've been saying this whole time, right? So an interesting thing that was this sort of idea has started being brought up. Basically, the whole, okay, RF, like basically if you have this some sort of fantasy to have some kind of erode, right? And personally, with me, my sort of like instant fix for the problems that are going on right now is just shut off erode completely right now. Go back to the way you had the tracks beforehand and just see how it all goes. And then sort of be working on a terrain deformation, rut maker over time in the background. Be working on that crap in the background, right? The easiest quick fix for erode right now is to just take it completely out. I mean, that really is the quick fix for it, man. There's no doubt about it. That's really the only way to do it. That's how you should do it, right? But the other sort of idea that sort of came up with the, Hunter Root, Alexis Leclerc, all of us in chat, right, is basically if RF has this fantasy to have some sort of erode in the pro racing, well, you could do basically where it's like, Hunter Root said basically the like 80%, or Alexis Leclerc and Hunter Root, we were all kind of chiming in on the same sort of vibe here. Basically, like making it to where it's 80% pre-made and then 20% actually the erode making it, right? So if you guys don't know, basically with MX Simulator right now, how they have it right now is pretty much like where they've got 10% pre-made. So like when you first get on the track, it is super smooth, highway, freeway, flat tracking, no roughness hardly at all, no big ruts. You've got these little bitty pre-made ruts on the track and little bitty pre-made roughness on it. And then you basically have to rely on the erode terrain deformation system of the game to make the 90% rest of the track, right? What we were kind of talking about, right? If you want to have some sort of erode in the game right now, this second, then go in there and have it like 80% pre-made, right? So you go in there and you've got like basically damn near like you have your pre-made tracks in 2015, 16, 17 Nationals, right? Before they even had erode, basically having it like that. And then going in there with a really, really low erode setting on it so that it will change over time a little bit, but it's not like having to go 0 to 100. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, and that'll fix a lot of your absolutely monotonous qualifying action going on. And also, it's actually going to make it a lot more realistic, because one of the big issues is that in the erode right now, where it is going from super smooth highway to full-blown enduro cross within each individual race, like Moto 1, Moto 2, Moto 3, Moto 4. It shouldn't be like that. I said Moto 3, Moto 4. I meant, you know what I'm saying, boys. I didn't mean, 4 motos in one clash, right? I mean, like 250 Moto 1, 250 Moto 2, 450 Moto 1, 450 Moto 2, right? Going from perfectly smooth all the way back up to rough. That's not even how it is in real life, right? Like, there is a lot of already ruts on the track lap 1 of the motos, especially when you start getting into the, 450 Moto 1, 250, and you get into the second motos, right? You already have ruts made on the track. It's not doing this amount of changing over time, even in the pro racing. So all you guys that are going down this realism, like, oh my God, we have to have all of this erode and terrain deformation in MX Simulator because that's more real. No, it's not, dog. It's not more real to go from highway to endurocross. That's not even how it is in real life. So if you're preaching down that sort of vibe, you're going down the wrong rabbit hole, right? The more realism is basically having way more pre-made ruts, way bigger pre-made roughness, and then having very, very little erode. So it's not changing as much and you have more from the first lap, but it is changing some, right? The only reason I talk about, like, basically you'd be a lot better off just taking the erode completely out, that's a temporary sort of solution, right? Obviously, a dirt bike simulator needs some sort of changing over time rut system. I'm not trying to question that, right? I'm not trying to say, we never need that. But what I'm trying to get at is a game from 2007, you imagine what terrain deformation would be in a game from 2007, and that's what this is. And that's not saying a good thing, you know what I mean? Like, the ruts this is making, it's what you would imagine a game from 2007 having terrain deformation in it would be like. And it's not good. I mean, you can just tell the erode is just not even really, like, it just doesn't jive with the game. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot different than a game like Reflex, where it was literally made in the game and you've always had a terrain deformation. Like, we didn't even have terrain deformation in this game. No one really played with it for a long time. I mean, it was more of like a little side, like some people would test it out. There was a lot of lag involved. I cannot believe what it has turned into from what it was. You know what I mean? Erode was literally a joke. Go in there and just, go in there and kind of experiment with it on single. You couldn't do it online at all because of the amount of lag it would cause, which it still does cause a shitload of lag and damn near completely kills the entire pro racing experience just from the lag of it, right? But so yeah, I mean, that's kind of what me, Hunter Reed, Alexis Leclerc were kind of preaching was, if you're just diehard, have to have some kind of erode, then make it way more like pre-made at the beginning, and then very, very little erode on top of it. You understand what I'm saying? Versus like very little pre-made and a lot of erode on top. So that's kind of that's kind of what we were talking about there. But my sort of deal was like, if you just took erode out of this game right now, this second, and the next race just had those, what we all come to know and love and expect on these MX Simulator pro races, pro national tracks, all the pre-made ruts, roughness, all that kind of stuff. If you had all of that in there, your pro racing player count would literally double in this game. I swear to God, it would double. So, like, instead of having, barely enough people to even fill up the gate, you would have like 100 plus people trying to qualify for each one of these races. I guarantee you right away you would have that. And basically what one of the bigger dudes in RF, he was talking in chat, his sort of, and by the way, RF, you need to be real careful on this whole mentality that you have where when any sort of person disagrees with your road or says they don't like your road or says something's wrong with it, the first thing you guys want to say is, stop bitching, stop, crying, stop whining to us. Like, you guys are just constantly whining about the erode and complaining about the erode. You guys just complain all the time. That's the first thing RF wants to say anytime any of us want to disagree with. It's like, RF, you have got to understand, the only reason we're saying this is because we care. That's why we're doing it. You need to stop being so defensive against us. And then the next thing they want to say is, well, you guys never tell us what we need to change, and you guys never say what, you guys never show up to the, the little practice, erode testing races and whatnot. Well, RF, what have we been doing for the past 2 years in the pro racing? Because, I don't know, it may only be me, but this has felt like a road testing racing. That's what the actual pro racing feels like right now. So I don't really know what you mean by we're not showing up to the road test races and shit, because that's literally what we've been doing in the pro racing for the past 2 years. So I don't really know, if you think this doesn't feel like a beta test of a road, then you're off on that one, dog. But the whole, RF, you cannot get that defensive when people disagree with something. You can't do that. And when this many people start disagreeing with something, you can't just continue to push it to the side and push it to, oh, we're just complaining. Oh, all this. I mean, dudes, I don't even have any words for it anymore because of how long I've been saying this. I'm so worn out and so tired of it. And at this point, RF, all of your people, let me tell you something right now, okay? This is the first time I've ever said this, I think, about MX Simulator. But the current state of MX Simulator is not even fun anymore. I'm not having fun with this game anymore. And if somebody like me is saying that, you've got some serious problems, RF, because this is what I live for. This is what I die for, dog. Literally, I have the most deep-rooted want to love this game as any human could possibly have. And even I am not having fun with this game anymore. So, you're going to have to wake up, okay? Because that's not... There is so many little things you are doing that is making it like that. I mean, the open qualifying, what in the hell? That isn't even, you can't defend that. You can't, it's not realistic. They don't qualify for 2 days straight, run as many laps you want to on the real life tracks. It's so stupid because what takes 2 days to do, you could do in an hour before the race, right? So it doesn't make any sense. And having the erode in the qualifying going from flat tracking to a road basically makes it to where you're only going to be able to run your fast lap within that, fifth lap or sixth lap of qualifying, because at the beginning of qualifying, it's too smooth. The ruts aren't big enough. And then by the end of it, they're too big, too rough. You're not going to be able to run a fast lap like that. So you could sit there in a 10-lap qualifying race, but really you only get 1 or 2 laps to actually run your fast lap. So I cannot describe the monotony and the repetitive and everybody just figures out one line on the track because they've been sitting there burning 1,000 laps on it for 2 days straight. So then when the race comes around, every single person is running that exact lap. And oh, by the way, here's another wonderful example of why the qualifying completely sucks ass. So get this, guys. So the dude that got third place in the first moto, okay, his fastest lap time in the race was my qualifying time, and I got 35th in qualifying in this race. Okay, if you don't realize, 36 is the cutoff point to where you don't have to go to the consi. So I was one position out of having to go to the consi race, and I literally had the same exact fast lap as the fastest lap time of the dude that got third place in the first moto. And I got 35th in qualifying. That does not make any sense to any degree. You literally have to go 4 or 5 seconds faster than as fast as you would need to go to get a fucking podium to qualify top 10. Or, it has blown that up to an absolute extreme level. And doing all of this putting erode in the game and all that. Yo, JLV, I swear to God. That front end lock, what the hell, dog? Let me just do a quick little Spencer Turley rant on this, okay? That is a perfect example of the absolute worst sort of front end lock that you can possibly have in MX Simulator. Why in the hell is it I either have full control of my handlebars or I have no control of my handlebars? Why is there not any in between? What in the absolute fuck? That dude barely even kissed my handlebar. I'm talking just a little playful nudge. When he was going beside me right there, I didn't even know if he actually hit me. And he went beside me. Let me back this up just a little bit, guys. I have to just show this. This was ridiculous right here. Perfect example of why the next thing you need to put in this game, JLV, is a front end lock adjustment update. And this is so bad that this shouldn't even matter what kind of stability setup you have, what kind of, turning settings. It should never do this in this game right here. Ever. Look at this. Let me get this shit in third person. Did he even hit me? Like, what the hell? It literally didn't even look... That is the slightest that somebody could possibly collide with you, and it still sent my front end into front end lock. I go 0 to 100 real quick. Oh my God. This is so unacceptable in this level of a game, JLV. You have got to be joking me right now, dog. He literally didn't even really hit me. And once he went beside me right here, he kind of like felt the nudge, right? The little invisible nudge, whatever the hell it was. And I was like, okay, cool. I still have control of my handlebars for like another 0.5 of a second, right? You could see me kind of still in control right here. And then all of a sudden, it's just like literal Jesus Christ himself came down and just pushed my handlebars down into the ground. What the fuck is that? You have got to have more of a in-between, like having control of your handlebars and not having control of your handlebars when somebody runs into your front end. It can't just be like full control to no control. That's what it feels like right now. It feels like you have control in turning, and then all of a sudden when somebody, if they hit any sort of your front wheel, handlebars, anything like that, the front part of the bike, it is literally like somebody just took your controller out of your hand and forced you into the dirt. Like, that's what this game feels like. JLV, dog, that should be priority, man, to fix that right there. But either way, back to the whole erode system. I really think we are finally getting somewhere with RF in this whole situation. It's to the point where so many people have complained, and me, Alexis Leclerc, Hunter Root, all complaining at the same time, basically saying the exact same thing. Like, you either need to go in there and have way more of a pre-made rut system. I mean, I was thinking that would have been a cool way to do it, but I think there's going to be some problems within that. I don't know. I think we could definitely test out and see how it works, but the simple, quick solution is just completely take your road out, go back to when MX Sim was great again. You know what I mean? Go back to that while you're in this testing sort of stage. This was the whole fucking thing I was saying at the beginning. Why the hell does it seem like we are beta testing 2 years later in the actual pro racing? If you're even remotely doing any kind of testing with erode, you shouldn't be running it in the pro racing. It's not ready for it, period. You shouldn't even be having it in there. I mean, that's a freaking obvious, but it's one of those things. I feel like this is something that has happened to RF, and this happens with a lot of, studios and sort of organizations and stuff like that. It's like they try to push something so hard, they get this sort of idea in their head on what they want something to be, and eventually they become completely delusional to what is actually going on around them and what the general public wants out of whatever it is, or the general community as a whole wants out of something. They become completely delusional from what that is. And don't believe that can't happen with RF. Okay, I know it's very easy to put RF on this super high pedestal and all that, and a lot of people like to do that, but this happens with a lot of companies. Look at Blizzard with World of Warcraft, right? Back in the day, everybody and their grandmother's grandmother used to play that game, and then they just went completely down the shitter hole with it. Look at Call of Duties. That, everybody used to play those games back in the original Modern Warfare 2, and now they have just completely went down the crap hole. Battlefield completely went down the crap hole. There is so many of these huge corporations, huge companies that just don't get it. They don't get it. And they don't have half of the amount of people playing their games as they used to have because of the stupid decisions that they're making. So don't think that RF can't get that same sort of delusion that all of these other companies get, because they could get it just as easy as any other company can get it. I mean, I've sat here and spoken my points about things that go on with RF. I mean, really, in all reality, it's just a couple of random dudes running it. It's not like this super hierarchy of really people that need to be in these certain positions. Now, I'm not saying everybody in RF is a bad dude. You know, there is certainly some cool people in RF, certainly some people in RF that'll keep it professional with you, keep it G with you, keep it cool like it's supposed to be, right? And they understand how to do things, but there is a lot of people in RF that don't get how to do shit. Like, there's a lot of people in RF that are just completely unprofessional all the time. Even with, like, listen, we're the customers here, RF. The last thing you want to do is go in there and say, hey, y'all need to quit bitching. Literally, we're saying this shit because we care. We're saying this shit because this game will die if you don't wake up and change something. That's why we're doing it. So, in your whole sort of theory of like, well, the only reason you guys are still doing RF is because of erode, and you want to go in there, and that's what keeps you interested in it, and that's literally what they said last night in chat. Listen, if you've got that sort of mindset, then you're way off, dude. It's not about you guys having fun doing RF. That's not what RF is about. It's about making tracks for the consumer base. That's what it's about. It's about making a pro racing experience and tracks for the consumer base. It's not about keeping you guys interested in it. Like, how do you not understand that? We're not over here just like, let's just go fuck around with whatever RF wants to do just because that's what they're more interested in doing. Like, no, dog. What you're trying to do is get as many people pro racing as you possibly can and keep this game as flourishing as you possibly can. That's the whole point of it. Okay? And that's my whole point in, if you went back to no erode today, and in the next race, and you made those tracks like you did back in 2015, 16, 17, you would literally double the amount of players pro racing in this game instantaneously. You would double it. So why the hell wouldn't you do it? That's my whole theory on it. Is it's like, yeah, I mean, I agree, the whole going in there and doing like a lot of pre-made and then having very slight amounts of erode on top of it, that would be a really good idea. I mean, I thought the best way to do it, Lexus Leclerc and Hunter Root was talking like basically an 80% pre-made, then 20% erode. I even thought to go a little further, like 90% pre-made, 10% erode on it. But, I mean, that would be a really cool way to do it, but that may come with its own issues. I don't know. And then you're still going to have some erode lag on there, so I don't really know how that's going to work out. But as far as right now, today, the easiest, quickest fix to stop losing pro race fans of this game is to just take it out until you figure out what the hell you're doing. That would be the smart, logical way to go about doing it, is take it the fuck out and do what you know works in this game. Before we had erode, this game was doing just fine. There was 100+ people qualifying. It was great. Like, there was so many good things about this game before erode came along. There's so many issues that's come along with it. And one big problem is it does not make hardly any actual real braking bump roughness like you would expect it to make at all. Doesn't make the ruts like you want it to. It literally makes the most spliced, like, I don't even know how to explain the kind of ruts erode makes in this game. But it doesn't really make even normal, like skill-gapped braking bumps. It makes these bizarre, like, jump hump bumps that you just have to kind of randomly balls into and do like a damn quad over some little bumps into the rut. It is so bizarre, dude. I'm not joking around. Like, it is so weird how the erode actually makes terrain deformation in MX Simulator. It's just so far off from where it needs to be, and that's what I'm saying, is if we're still at this state, you know, RF is talking about, you guys need to show up for the RF, erode test races and shit, which is not actually in the pro racing. It's like separate little side test races. You guys need to show up for that and whatnot. If you're even still in that sort of testing state, that shouldn't even be in the actual pro racing, guys. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get across right now. That shouldn't even be in it. But, yeah, it's just... And if you go in there, me talking about going back to those 2015, 16, 17 style tracks on here, obviously you'd want to beef everything up a little bit to kind of have it that next year a little more advanced. But even if you didn't have any terrain deformation, you've already lost all of your dudes that were like your real old school guys that didn't like what the hell you're doing with erode and all that. You've already lost them. They're gone. They quit playing this game, man. So they're not in here to even give you your opinions about like what's going wrong with erode and what you're doing wrong. They're already gone. You've done lost them because you've done this horse shit for 2 years now. that's what I'm getting across is like, you've already been through that whole beta testing, do the testing stage. You've had enough time to do that. There is no more going in there and doing actual little side RF test races and shit, because we do that in the pro racing. We have been for the past 2 years, and you still can't get it right. So it's obvious that it's not ready for the game. There's no cush to the dirt. The ruts are never going to feel like they really need to. It's not making the right kind of roughness. It's not doing it. I mean, what more needs to be said? What more needs to be proven? What are we going to have to get to the point where nobody's racing anymore? Is that really, just from what I've seen? I'm telling you guys, this game overall, community, amount of people invested, getting involved in the game has just slowly but surely declined to the point of where I feel like we've got about half of the people we used to have before Erode, right? And that goes with the random online racing servers. They basically killed the entire go in there on a random online racing server and just have fun on it. They pretty much killed that whole aspect to MX Simulator, that random online multiplayer racing side of it. It's totally dead now, because when you go on there, half the time either the erode is way too high for the amount of riders you have on that random server, or the erode is way too low for the amount of riders you have on that server, and now the tracks are built to where they're flat tracking highways, so you're either sitting there on a flat track for the entire race, or you're sitting there with way too many people, and it just makes retarded looking erode on the track, like absolutely just silly whenever you make the erode way too quick on a track. So now they've just complicated the online multiplayer racing to the point where people don't even want to race on it anymore, because they know that it's probably not going to be a good experience anymore. Whereas before, it used to be so simple. It was just get on that track, and whatever that track was, and you just get on there and have fun racing on it. And that's what it was. Qualifying for the pro racing was so much more simple, even when it was unlimited back then, even when it was a 2-day qualifying, because you didn't have that horse shit where every single qualifying session having to work up from totally flat track highway to actually making good enough ruts to run your fast lap on. It's just, man, it has killed so many different aspects of this game that I don't even think RF seen this coming. Like, I really don't think that they did, guys. It has killed way more aspects than I would have ever dreamed of. And I cannot believe the potential this game has, and the feeling of the bike, and what you can do with pre-made ruts, roughness, jump faces, kickers, ruts over jumps, all of that kind of stuff. And they've got it to a point where it feels like what it does. I just cannot believe that they are making a game that's this amazing, not even fun anymore. It's unreal. It is unreal what they have done with this game. Like, RF, you've got to come to an understanding now. And I've been saying it for 2 years, ever since you started. I gave you a chance. Those first couple Supercross races, I was like, okay. And then once you did the first a couple national races. But now people are realizing you're not changing anything. We sit there and give you all of this, feedback and advice and what you need to do, and you won't change it. You won't do anything. So that's why we get pissed. That's why we're like, yo, what the hell? Erode's killing this game. Like, I literally seen one of the RF dudes comment in the race last night. He was like, hey, can you guys, private message me some actual feedback and not just going in there and saying, hey, Erode sucks, it's killing this game. Like, well, the problem is that is the truth. Erode sucks and it's killing this game. What? Shit. Like, I don't even know, dude, what to say. I don't know, guys. It's sad, but I at least think that I have this inclination that RF is to the point now where it's like they're starting to realize, thank God, Jesus Christ, I think we're at least going to have way more of a pre-made, like I think he said they were going to try to do like maybe a 40-60 or some shit, 40% pre-made and then 60% with the erode. Which you guys know me, I think it needs to be at least 80% pre-made and 20% erode, right? But I don't even know how that's really going to work. I honestly don't. I don't know if having that much pre-made and then trying to have erode over a really big pre-made rut, I don't really know what that's going to do. I have no idea. So that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, you might as well take your road completely out and then go test that sort of like percentage split kind of erode system where it's like, 40-60%, and then do like a 50-50, 50% pre-made, 50% erode, and then work it. You're slowly but surely going to take out more and more and more erode in this game. That's slowly but surely what you're going to do until you get to the point where you're 80% pre-made ruts and 20% erode on top of it. And then at that point, it's like, what is it really doing anyways? And that's what I'm getting at whenever I say things like, just take it out. It's not ready for the game. I mean, good God, even JLV himself has went in there and not really just been all gung-ho for this erode shit. I mean, he really hasn't been. He's been more hesitant on it than just about anybody. He's been more like, I don't really know if the game's ready for that. And so it's like, damn, man. You've got to come to an understanding point at some point there. And nothing's changed. That's what I'm getting at. You're still not changing anything. We give you feedback, and you're still not changing. So that makes us feel like, what's the point of even giving any feedback? That's what I'm saying, RF. You're to the point now to where you've killed off all of the people that actually give a shit about giving you real feedback. You've done killed them off because you haven't changed anything. So then you're to the point now to where the only people that's really racing are the people that, I feel like a lot of them are people that, are really into this erode thing. So you're not even getting a, like, general across the board of all of your pro racers like you had back in 2015, because all the people that don't like this erode shit have quit racing. They're not even racing anymore. You done killed them off. So if all of those guys were still here, you would have way more of an uproar, way more of an outcry in chat than you have right now. And you need to realize that, right? Like, I think it is being swayed quite a bit by all the people that's already quit playing this game. So, sorry for not really talking about the race, but this shit has just gotten to a point where it's just, good God. Good God. And I've been saying this. So, Jeremy, Cohenhauer, all you guys saying that I don't give enough. It's funny how they say you guys don't give enough feedback and you tell us what settings to change, right? They were saying that in chat last night. Tell us what settings to change, and then just a breath later, they say, you guys whine too much. You guys are complaining too much. You guys bitch too much. You just fucking told us to tell you what to change and to tell you how to fix it and to give you advice and give you our opinions on it. And then literally the next second later, they tell us we're bitching too much, we complain too much. All we do is complain about erode. Holy fuck. I've never seen so much back and forth horse shit like that. Like, RF, come on now. You've got to realize what that looks like from the outside. Good God, man. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.